pleased to welcome you to the Insight to the End Times podcast today. This is a very special day. It's Monday, March 27th, 2023, but it's special because this is the beginning of our second year of Insight podcasts. Already 1 year has gone by, and we're excited to begin a second year. If you've been with us over the past, you know an awful lot has changed in the world since we began these podcasts. We began these podcasts to look at what's going on in the world, what are the world events that are occurring, and how do they line up and how do they reconcile with scriptures that talk about the end times, that prophesy about last day events. We've looked at a lot of scriptures that are very, very clear, the signs that we should be looking for as we approach the end of the age and so on. And it's amazing what has happened in the last year. The events that have occurred, the acceleration of those events, the seriousness of those events, and of course the prophetic nature of those events vis-a-vis the scriptures that we have looked at. Today I want to begin looking at the 7-year tribulation timetable, because I believe most everybody is asking the question, what's going on? What's going on? We were in Toronto just recently. We're in a number of stores. We're talking to individuals that we've come to know over the years. And in the course of our conversation, this comment kept coming up. What's going on in this world? Where's it going to end? It's crazy out there. Well, yes, it is. And these are end time events. These are end time things that we're speaking of. But if you're a Christian believer, you're probably looking forward to the rapture of the church. And I hope most of you know what that means. The rapture of the church means that believers in the Lord Jesus Christ are going to be removed from this earth, taken up into heaven directly without having to go through physical death. It happened in the scriptures 3 different times. It happened in the Old Testament in the book of Genesis when Enoch was a man who pleased God and was taken up without having to die. He's the very first one who was raptured. The second individual is Elijah. In 2 Kings, it says he and Elisha went across the brook to the other side, and he was taken up in a whirlwind. And Elisha saw him go. In fact, he caught his cloak that came off his shoulders, and as he caught that cloak, he continued the ministry of Elijah. But he's the second one to be taken up. The third one, of course, is the Lord Jesus Christ. He was taken up following his resurrection from the dead and his appearance on the earth for a 50-day period. He was taken up in the book of Acts, chapter 1, verses 9 and 10 and 11. Those verses all refer to that. So most believers today are looking forward to the day when the rapture of the church will occur, and they're hoping it will be before the tribulation period. So I thought it would be very helpful as we start this second year to look at the events that will take place during the 7 years of tribulation. I hope you'll be blessed by this, of course. The first major event that we're looking for, or we're anticipating, is called the pre-tribulation rapture of believers, of Christians. This actually is referenced in Revelation chapter 4, verse 3, where John hears the words, "Come up hither." That's a reference to the rapture. Rapture means to be removed from earth, to be taken up into heaven without having to go through physical death, as I mentioned earlier. Now, we're also aware from the scriptures that no one knows when this will occur. So we can look at signs that point towards it, but we can't identify the exact time or date. Although it would seem from all the signs we've seen and shared in this last year that we're getting really, really close. Closer than we may think. But once the rapture occurs, then all these other events dealing with the 7 years of tribulation kick into effect. And when they do, we know we are exactly 7 years from the Battle of Armageddon. And that will mark the return of Jesus Christ to the earth to set up his kingdom. So let's go through some of these. We won't get too far today. We'll continue tomorrow until we get through. But once the tribulation occurs, once the rapture occurs, let me rephrase that. Once the rapture of believers occurs, then the first event following that will be the revelation or the revealing of who the Antichrist is. And it will also mark the beginning of the tribulation period. It is a 7-year period. That's referred to in the book of Daniel, chapter 9. And it is detailed in very, very finite detail in Revelation chapters 4 through chapter 18. So the tribulation of 7 years is broken into 2 segments. They're both 3.5 years long. That's 42 months, and that's 1,260 days according to the scriptures. And there's two time periods, as I mentioned, the first and the second. The first half is known as the beginning of sorrows. And there will be sealed judgments, S-E-A-L, is the reference to these judgments of God that will come forth. They will be released in this first 3.5 year period. And the very first reference is in Revelation chapter 6, verse 2. It refers to a white horse, and the man riding on that white horse is identified by study as the Antichrist. He will be revealed. Now in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, in verse number 3 and verses 7 and 8, it refers to a restrainer being removed. That's the church, that's believers, that's the rapture. And once they are removed, then the Antichrist can be revealed. And he is revealed as the white horse rider. And he'll come on the scene immediately after the rapture of the church. And that marks the beginning of the tribulation period of 7 years, and also tells us who he is. Now, let's continue this tomorrow. We're going to get into the rest of this timeline, and I think you'll find it very fascinating. I hope you have your pen and paper handy, or you have your laptop or your phone or whatever you make notes on handy, because you'll want to make notes on all of these details. I'll see you tomorrow. Look forward to it. Thanks for joining today. Bye.